So then I looked at her and I said, "You gotta grab life by the rye horns."
Wow, Paraspectre, you sure do know how to talk to the ladies.
Yeah, I'm super witty. Did I ever tell you about the time that—
Watch out!
Oh my god, I didn't even see him!
This can't be happening. You were too busy telling your witty stories.
Me? You were the one distracting me by listening to them.
Is he dead?
I think he's just knocked out. Let's just drag him to the side of the road and maybe someone will find him. Hopefully. Probably.
That is an absolutely terrible idea. But okay.
What you wore last summer. What? Wait, let me think about that for a minute. This is the summer when I wore my Into the AM shirts. I'm going to be honest with all of you. I'm a pretty thin dude, and I'm about 5'10". It's really difficult for me to find shirts that are long enough but don't have the bagginess of a large. I like to wear shirts that show off my extremely large muscles, while still, covering up my belt. And I'm serious, these Into the AM shirts do just that, as you can see. Also, these designs are pretty fantastic. This one is a personal favorite of mine, as the octopus reminds me of the Spectre logo, as in Paraspectre. So if you use the link intotheam.com/Paraspectre, you can get 10% off your order, which is really awesome. The Paraspectre name actually does something now. And this code is on top of the current deal of 3 graphic tees for $60 or 3 basic tees for $49.95. Also, this is a true story. I went to a party last night wearing this shirt, and the host of the party actually asked if it was an Into the AM shirt. He had no idea that I got the shirt and was going to be wearing it, so that's pretty cool. So once again, thank you for Into the AM for these graphic tees and for sponsoring this video.
That's super weird that somebody remembered what you wore last year.
Oh wait, there's another one. Oh, I know what you did last summer. Oh, okay. No. Spike. Somebody knows.
But who? Nobody was even around.
This is bad. We're gonna have to go undercover. Be somebody else for a little while.
You're right. From now on, you can call me Ryan Philippi.
And you know something? I always wanted to be Ash Ketchum from the Pokémon anime.
What, really? That's super lame, to be honest.
I'll prove it. I'll go do a TCG challenge by becoming Ash. Come on, Spike, Ryan, let's go. Hello my friends, it's your old pal Paraspectre back again to provide you with some more TCG nonsense. There's one thing I get commented on more than anything, and that is that I should roleplay more often. So from this point forward in the video, you can call me Ash. That's right, in this challenge we are going to be playing through the entirety of the TCG on the Game Boy Color following Ash Ketchum's Kanto journey in the anime. This is actually a challenge that I have done in the main games, and it's a lot of fun. I first did this with the yellow version many years ago before Pokemon challenges were even a thing, so it only makes sense to now translate this to the Pokemon Trading Card Game, since it's just what I do now. We seem to be made to suffer.
It's our lot in life.
I'm just kidding. We have fun. So the thing with the TCG is that it's an entirely separate world from the main games. There is no Kanto, and in this world, the only thing anybody even remotely cares about are the cards. Society doesn't matter, there are no laws, no grocery stores, just card matches. But let's be honest, each club leader is basically a knockoff of one of the Kanto gym leaders, so this should be pretty easy to follow for this alternate universe Ash run. The rules are as follows. I can only use the Pokemon that Ash uses in the anime, and only at the relative time that he catches or obtains them. I'm also going to have to do the club leaders in the same order that he defeats their Kanto counterparts as well. And yes, there will be a Viking funeral for old Butterfree. If there are any adjustments that need to be made, I'll explain as I get to them. The only event that I'm outright refusing to do is get 30 Tauros cards. When Ash gets to the Safari Zone, he ends up catching 30 Tauros that he never even uses, so I'm going to draw the line there. That would be a complete waste of time. The only other rule that I'm implementing is in regards to Ash's Pikachu. Of course, this is what I'll be starting with, but there are a lot of Pikachu variants in this game. I'm allowing all of them to be fair game, but I can only ever have one of them in the deck at a time. His Pikachu is supposed to be ridiculously strong, so if I'm limiting myself to just this plain weak sauce Pikachu card, that doesn't seem to translate properly. So I'll be giving a quick rundown of each team member as I acquire them, and as we all know, Ash Ketchum's journey starts only with Pikachu. There are actually 5 different Pikachu cards in this game: the standard base set version, the jungle set variant, a promotional variant, and flying and surfing Pikachu. There are technically 2 different pictures each for the promo and the surfing Pikachus, but they do the exact same things and are obtained differently. So 5 options in the end. I'm not sure yet if I'll obtain all 5 or not, we'll see how I feel. So let's get this challenge underway and pretend I'm back in 1996 when I was 10 years old. After really studying up and learning the ins and outs of how to play the card game, it is time to choose my starting deck. My only true option here is to take the Charmander and Friends deck, because you start with a Pikachu. Base Pikachu is a lightning type with 40 HP, a weakness to fighting, and a 1 retreat cost. For 1 colorless, it has Gnaw, which does a simple 10 damage. For 1 lightning and 1 colorless, Thunder Jolt does 30 and 10 to itself if a Tails is flipped. 30 from 2 energies is pretty boss, but Pikachu won't be lasting too long. This Pikachu and I got off to a bit of a rocky start, but I feel like we're going to become the best of friends. So the very first thing I need to do is go get 1 Caterpie. Unfortunately, I need to do a few battles with the default deck before making any adjustments, so the challenge will begin once I get Caterpie, then Pidgey and Pidgeotto, then Metapod and Butterfree, in that order. So after annihilating one of the grassy ladies who gives evolution packs, I get my Caterpie. Bear with me as I do a quick rundown of my new friends as I go along. Caterpie is a grass type with 40 HP, a weakness to fire, and a 1 retreat cost. For 1 grass, it can use String Shot, which does 10 and paralyzes on a head's flip. Pretty basic. After that, I annihilated the same grassy lady to get my Pidgeotto. In the anime, Ash never actually gets Pidgey, but since this is the card game, I need both. Pidgey is a normal type with 40 HP, a weakness to lightning, resistance to fighting, and a 1 retreat cost. For 2 colorless, Whirlwind does 10 and my opponent switches in a benched one of their choice. This could have some strategy involved, but it could also be bad for me. Pidgeotto, however, goes up to 60 HP with the same weakness, resistance, and retreat cost, but this time Whirlwind does 20 damage instead of 10. Wowie zowie. But also, for 3 colorless, Mirror Move does the damage result of an attack on Pidgeotto last turn back to the opponent. That could prove to be pretty helpful. Pidgeotto is very situational though. And finally, my Caterpie can evolve into Metapod, who shoots up to 70 HP, but gets a 2 retreat cost. For 2 colorless, Stiffen prevents all damage on the next turn with a heads coin flip, and Stun Spore is the same as Caterpie, but 20 damage instead of 10. Yeah, Metapod is actually pretty good in this game, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but I'll take it. And oh my god, look you guys! My Metapod just evolved into the most beautiful Butterfree you've ever seen. I am in awe of how gorgeous these pixels are. Butterfree is an interesting one. It has the same HP as Metapod, but gets the same Whirlwind attack as Pidgeotto. It also gets a resistance to fighting and a free retreat cost. But its other attack is Mega Drain. For 4 grass energies, it does 40 damage, and I heal half of the damage dealt from Butterfree. Pretty awesome, but that's a lot of grass needed. Okay, now the challenge can actually begin once I adjust my deck accordingly. It's time to fight Brock, who goes by Gene in this game. I start with Caterpie and Pikachu, so it's not terrible. He opens with a Rhyhorn and opts for an Oakman on the first turn. Alright. But it ultimately works in his favor because he gets a fully powered Dugtrio real quick who crushes my team. This is okay because Ash loses to Brock at first too, so no need to panic everyone. All part of the plan. Attempt number 2. This was real stupid as I only ever got Pikachu who can't even really hit his team anyway, and Gene would not add any energies to Rhyhorn to win. It took him like 10 turns to finally add a double colorless to one-shot me. But before I do attempt number 3, I decided to put some thought into this. This base Pikachu is completely useless in this match. I think it's high time I upgrade and at least get access to the other Pikachu to switch out accordingly. And oh my sweet dear god, did I waste so much time just to get the surfing and flying Pikachu. The steps you have to take involving talking to certain people, getting certain cards to trade, literally saving and resetting the game, it was an absolute hassle to get these. There is only one trainer I can fight right now who gives laboratory packs, and I need these in order to get the rare Clefable to trade for the surfing Pikachu, and I need these before I can get Ditto to trade for the flying Pikachu. But I actually did it. Flying Pikachu has 40 HP, remains a lightning type, has no weakness, a resistance to fighting, and a 1 retreat cost. For 1 lightning, it can use Thunder Shock, which does 10 and paralyzes on a coin flip. But its claim to fame is Fly. For 3 colorless, Fly does 30 damage, and all damage is prevented on the next turn with a heads flip. But if it's tails, nothing happens. It's a gamble. I'm sorry, Gene, but this just became a whole mess of trouble for you now. Prepare for the beatdown. And I just get Caterpie, and Caterpie can't hack it. Okay, how is this challenge one of the hardest ones I've done? If I'm struggling this much against Gene, this is gonna be a long ride. Attempt number 4. This round was all me, as I started with my Pidgey who has a fighting resistance. I ended up not losing anybody, but the match was over 9 minutes long because Pidgey and Pidgeotto have Whirlwind, so I had to knock out 6 of his to win on a rotating conveyor belt. I did use Metapod and Butterfree at one point, but man, I thought this one would be much easier than it was. Rock Medal obtained, and now it's time to go straight to Amy to act as the Misty battle. I actually had some trouble with the first Water Lady, so I gave Flying Pikachu the deuces and brought in Jungle Pikachu for something different. Jungle Pikachu has 50 HP, a weakness to fighting, and a 1 retreat cost. For 2 lightning, it has Spark, which does 20 damage, and 10 more to one of their benched ones of my choosing. To be honest, I'm leaning towards using this one from now on. Okay, Amy time. I start with my lone Caterpie against, Lapras. This may not be my time. My first turn, I draw Butterfree. Then I use the bill in my hand and get Metapod. Wow, look at that, Amy. Bugs are just pouring into your pool room. But now I'm having energy problems for the first time this challenge. I do everything I can to keep Caterpie alive with potions and defenders, and finally draw an energy search. Metapod time. I succeed on a Pokeball and get Pikachu for some insurance. Now, I could evolve Metapod, but again, I'm not getting grass energies, and Stun Spore is the better move now over Whirlwind. But oh my god, I accidentally pressed A too early and used Stiffen instead of Stun Spore. Amateur move, Paraspectre. I do at least prevent damage, but I gotta get Lapras out quick, and that isn't helping. Then I draw Pidgey, so now I have my entire team here except for Pidgeotto. She starts to power up a bench, so I say it's Butterfree time. I'm about to whip up a breeze so fierce that her team is going to be tornadoing in and out of existence. I'm really needing some energies though, so I computer search for my old pal, the Oak Man, for a brand new hand. She uses a potion on Lapras during the Whirlwind Storm, but once I blow Goldeen away, she brings in Horsey instead. But I Whirlwind her Horsey away and Lapras comes in and takes down Butterfree. You did great, my Flutter friend. But now I can't quite attack with either Pikachu or Pidgey, so I gotta think of something. Mysterious Fossil comes in to stall, but I eventually go with Pidgey to start the Whirlwind dance again. And I'll be honest, I kinda hate Whirlwind. But thankfully, she does not seem to be getting any Wartortle or Seadra or Seaking or anything. Then, just like that, she gets a Seaking. Ugh. I still can't attack with Pikachu, so I choose to use up my Super Potion on Pidgey just to stall a little longer. She brings in Lapras, but now's my chance. I unleash a plus power on it, finally knocking out my first Pokemon. Can you believe that? This match has been going on for 8.5 minutes. Seaking comes in and I'm done for if she uses Waterfall, but she does not add an energy to it. Speaking of, where are my lightning energies? Or Pidgeotto? I draw a Revive, so I bring back Caterpie and switch in for it. Finally, I draw a lightning energy, so I'll just ride it out with Caterpie as long as I can, and then bring in the Zappy Mouse to electrify her silly water types. Caterpie does amazingly well and paralyzes her Squirtle every time. Seaking comes in and knocks Caterpie out, but it's all over for her now. Pikachu dispatches the rest of her fish with Spark, giving me the Water Medal. That was honestly a really good match. There were a few points where it could have gone either way. I thought that this one deserved a more thorough rundown. But now it's time to add some brand new team members. That's right, I discovered a brave Bulbasaur who only wanted to defend its grass friends. I rescued a Charmander from a cruel trainer, leaving it in the rain to literally die. I discovered a band of Squirtles known as the Squirtle Squad. Oh wait, I don't have a Squirtle yet. Really? Ugh, let me go get one real quick. And, okay, there. The leader of the Squirtle Squad joined my team, and I even caught a Krabby wandering around in a mystery at the lighthouse. But, oh no, I can only hold 6 Pokemon, so it's going to have to go into reserves. Oh well. Okay, a quick rundown of my new team. Bulbasaur is a grass type with 40 HP, a weakness to fire, and a 1 retreat cost. For 2 grass, Leech Seed does 20, and I heal Bulbasaur for 10. I literally just used this in my Overgrowth challenge, so I'm used to this. Charmander is a fire type with 50 HP, a weakness to water, and a 1 retreat cost. For 1 colorless, Scratch does a simple 10. For 1 fire and 1 colorless, Ember does 30, and I remove the fire energy. Charmander is arguably the best of the 3 Kanto starters here. Squirtle is the water type with 40 HP, a weakness to lightning, which is all sorts of wrong if you think about it. It negates the rock, paper, scissors aspect of the starting Pokemon. I get that water is absolutely weak to electric, but Squirtle's weakness should be grass. But I digress, and it has a 1 retreat cost. For 1 water, Bubble does 10 and paralyzes on a heads flip. For 1 water and a colorless, Withdraw prevents all damage on the next turn with a heads flip. I will probably never use this. But okay, now that I have my brand new team, it's an electric shock showdown time, pretending that I'm taking on the lieutenant himself, but instead, it's lame Isaac. This match was actually super nuts. I draw Charmander and Squirtle, and he opens with Kangaskhan. I opt for Charmander since Squirtle can't attack yet, and it's a lightning deck. But since it's Kangaskhan, you know what that means. Time to get Kangaskhan down to 10, remove the energies from it, and let Isaac continuously use Fetch to knock his deck down. It goes surprisingly well too. He even used a Bill. But here's where he goes absolutely ballistic. He uses a switch to bring in Magneton to immediately blow itself up and everything around it. Boom! Charmander and Magneton are dead and everybody else gets hit for 20. Well, this got interesting. In doing so, he also knocks out his own Kangaskhan too, so 2 prizes left for me. But I don't really have any good options now. A Squirtle and Pidgeotto who are weak to lightning, and Pikachu who can't even attack yet, all injured. I opt for Pidgeotto since I know it won't last long and he brings Electrode in. I take a chance here and use Whirlwind to do some damage to Electrode and Electabuzz that he brings in. His Electrode comes back and brings me down to 10, so I Mirror Move to knock it out, losing Pidgeotto next. 3 prizes left. Pikachu comes in and it gets weird here. I use Spark to deal 20 to Magnemite and 1 to his benched Electabuzz. He uses a Defender on Magnemite just to use another self-destruct. Boom, Magnemite is dead, Pikachu is down to 10 and everybody else gets hit for 10, and I'm confused. But my next card, a plus power. It's all over. 30 damage to Magnemite and the Spark knocks out Electabuzz. 2 self-destructs used there, that was pretty crazy. But I'm now feeling confident in my decision to keep Jungle Pikachu in. It's a pretty good card. Lightning Metal obtained, but oh my god, you guys, I have to do something that pains me here. It's time to say goodbye to a longtime friend of mine. It's time to remove Caterpie, Metapod, and Butterfree from the deck. I didn't want to do it, okay? It's just, there was this other pink Butterfree, and you'll understand when you're older. Bye-bye, Butterfree. I hope you live a long and fruitful life. So here's the thing with this game. In the anime, Ash fights Sabrina next, but Murray is too much of a punk to allow that, and I can't face him until I have 4 badges. So I'm going to have to do one out of order here. And along the way to Celadon City, Ash catches a Primeape. So what I will do here is use Primeape against Nikki and remove it against Murray, and then we will be all on track. So Mankey is a fighting type with only 30 HP, a weakness to Psychic, and a free retreat cost. It has the Pokemon power of Peek, where once per turn I can look at the top card of either player's deck, a random card in my opponent's hand, or any one of the prizes. Just a nice little bonus. Then for 1 colorless, Scratch does 10. Mankey is very weak in this, but Primeape has 70 HP, the same Psychic weakness, and a 1 retreat cost. For 2 fighting, Fury Swipes does 20 damage for each heads on 3 flips. For 2 fighting and a colorless, Tantrum does 50 and Primeape gets confused if a tails is flipped. Primeape is pretty decent, but not too reliable with the chance flips. Anyway, Grassy Lady's time. So this Nikki fight was pretty easy. I start with only Mankey, but after using a Bill on turn 1, I get Charmander who easily knocks out her Oddish and Bulbasaur. Yeah, nothing to that one. But now, just like that, it's time to say goodbye to the Primeape that I never even used. Primeape goes bananas when I released it. At least I got to use Mankey there, I guess. You see, I met this Chad named Anthony, and well, he's going to train my Primeape to be the best like no one ever was. Well, now that that's over, I actually do have a decision to make here. You see, in the anime, Ash goes to Lavender Town to catch a ghost Pokemon to fight Sabrina. A random Haunter follows him back, but keeps disappearing instead of battling. But the thing is, Ash wins the badge from this Haunter, making Sabrina and her Kadabra laugh in a cheap cop-out way that Ash is known for. So, do I include Haunter in this deck for just the Murray match, or don't I? I think I'm going to say yes, because Haunter is the reason that Ash obtains the badge, even though it doesn't fight. So for just this match, Ghastly and Haunter will be in. I'm going to go with the Fossil Ghastly, who is a Psychic type, has 50 HP, no weakness or retreat cost, and a resistance to fighting. For 1 Psychic, Lick does 10 and paralyzes with a Head Slip. For 2 Psychics, Energy Conversion allows me to put 2 energy cards from my discard pile into my hand, and Ghastly gets hit for 10. That could really come in handy, but we'll see. Base Haunter has 60 HP, the same weakness and resistance but a retreat cost of 1. For 1 Psychic, Hypnosis causes sleep. For 2 Psychic, Dream Eater deals 50 damage as long as the opponent is asleep. That's huge, but situational. And again, only for this one battle. Okay, it's time for Haunter versus Kadabra. But attempt number 1, I don't want to talk about it. He only won with 1 card left in his deck. I'm still very upset about it, but let's move on to attempt number 2. No, you know what? I do want to talk about it. He only won because he used 2 scoop ups and brought this stupid Snorlax back to his hand just because he couldn't retreat it. He lowered his deck so much too from Kangaskhan and Oakmen. Okay, alright, attempt number 2. Yeah, nope, I didn't deal any damage the entire match.
Dumb. Stupid.
Attempt number 3. And this one was even more stupid than the last 2. Come on! Just when I had a chance, he uses a Pokemon Center, clearing a lot of damage that I dealt. But since my deck was lower, he pulled a tactic I used myself and did nothing until I ran out of cards. Murray was such an absolute pushover the first couple challenges I did, and now it's like he took my words to heart and went training in a cave or something. I know I hate him. Attempt number 4. This one was both pretty crazy, yet I don't have a lot to say about it. The turning point was me using a computer search on Pikachu of all cards, and I ended up running the table with it. His Chansey kept using Scrunch, and every time it was successful, I was able to still deal 10 damage from Spark to his 3 eventual Kadabra that he got. I love this jungle Pikachu. Psychic Metal obtained, and now it's time to leave old Haunter with Murray, as they can laugh the days away in their training cave or whatever. Along the way, I added a fancy new Muck to my team, except, well, it's going to have to spend some time on the bench for a while. Time to fight Science Master Rick, pretending that it's really Koga. They look nothing alike. I truly thought I was going to just barely win this one too. I managed to plan everything very well with Pikachu, knocking out Weezing and Mewtwo, but he managed to get enough energies to straight up explode his Weezing when all I had was Pikachu. I even had a prize Squirtle in my hand too. Pretty lame. Attempt number 2. This one really sucked. As you can see by the screen on the left, my team really isn't very strong, especially by removing Butterfree, Primeape, and Haunter over time. Way to go, Ash. Attempt number 3. This time I start with just Pidgey and Pidgeotto. Definitely could be worse. He opens with a Mewtwo and gets a second Mewtwo and Coughing right away. So Pidgeotto starts doing its whirlwind thing as I continue to break down his team one at a time. Grimer is honestly the worst of them all because of Nasty Goo being able to paralyze with a colorless energy. Eventually, I get Charmander and Pikachu, but only 1 Lightning Energy. He retreats his Grimer for Mewtwo, who uses Psychic to knock out Pidgeotto. Not good. I go with Pikachu since I have an Oakman in my hand, and surely I'll get either a Lightning Energy or an Energy Search or something. Oh, come on! That's a terrible new hand. I do get an Energy Removal to remove 1 from Mewtwo and try and stall. And it does kinda work. He does nothing 3 turns in a row. I draw Bulbasaur and he finally adds an energy to use Psychic again. I retreat Pikachu for Charmander, and I take a chance here and use Scratch instead of sacrificing a Fire Energy to knock out Mewtwo. Then I draw my Lightning Energy and finally take down his level 53 Mewtwo with a tiny Charmander who was originally left for dead by its trainer. Ah, the card game. Weezing comes in and knocks out Charmander, so I bring in Bulbasaur first. I probably wasted a defender here because I know he's going to use self-destruct. And he does, exploding shrapnel all over everybody, including his full bench. What a moron. All I have left is Pikachu. I use a revive on Charmander for some insurance, and I have a full heal coming up to put a stop to one nasty goo. I take out one Grimer, and he then gets a Weezing. Ugh. But Spark at least does some damage to Grimer and Weezing before I lose my buddy Pikachu. Only Charmander remains. I get a computer search to get the Oakman, and in return, I get 2 energy removals to put a stop to his Weezing. Heck yeah. I use a plus power to scratch Grimer to death. In comes Weezing, and only one prize left. My prize here, a plus power. Oh yes, now all I have to do is use that, and he uses an imposter Professor Oak to give me a new hand. You gotta be kidding me, I'm so close. I do not get it back, but I do get a bill, which then gives it back to me, thus giving me the science medal. That was close, and also quite fun. So my next task is to add 30 Tauros to my bench, and if you look real closely, the number 2 next to Tauros here turns into a 30. So task complete. But now, oh boy, you know what time it is. My Charmander is about to get a whole lot larger in size. It is time to add both Charmeleon and Charizard to the deck, gangster style. Charmeleon gets 80 HP, a weakness to water, and a Wonder Tree cost. For 3 colorless, Slash does a simple 30. For 2 fire and a colorless, Flamethrower does 50 and a remove a fire energy. A good, solid card that needs a little powering up to do anything. But after that is the lord of all Pokemon cards, the godfather of value and the white whale to most. It's finally time to use Charizard in a deck. Charizard has a whopping 120 HP, a weakness to water, a resistance to fighting, and a mega 3 retreat cost. Charizard has the Pokemon power of Energy Burn, where, unless Charizard has a status condition, I can turn all energies on it into fire energies for 1 turn. This is because Fire Spin requires 4 fire energies to do 100 damage, and I discard 2 energies. Yeah, Charizard is like an all or nothing card. Fire Spin is its only attack, so to deal any damage, I'm going to need to sacrifice 2 energies every time. But it's essentially a one-hit KO, unless I'm facing a Chansey or another Charizard. We'll have to see how often I'll actually use it though. But all of a sudden, this deck has some power to it. But my next tasks are simple now. Defeat Ken and then Mitch, taking the place of Blaine and Giovanni. Yeah, Fighting Leader Mitch is the only one that doesn't line up with the Kanto Gym leaders. Oh well. After that is the Grandmasters, in which I will be bringing Muck and Kingler into the deck, as Krabby will evolve. Let's do this. Tauros beats Charmeleon. Next. This battle was almost 14 minutes long, and yet again, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. It was only long because I was using Squirtle for a while, only dealing 10 a turn, but getting good paralysis luck. Then his Wigglytuff was getting excellent sleep luck, so it just kept delaying and delaying. He only had 8 cards left in his deck by the end even, but I snuck through with the victory thanks to a 3 Fire Energy Charmeleon. Only Mitch remains. Let's finish this. Not yet. Nope. Attempt number 2. I just realized I had a string of 3 wins on the first try in a row. The rest have been multiple attempts. Ah well. This was another really stupid 12-minute battle that I lost because I forgot Machamp has that idiotic Strike Back Pokemon power. Machamp can go dive off a cliff with its 4 floppy arms. Attempt number 3. This one was over in seconds because I am getting nowhere with just Pikachu and Bulbasaur against a fighting deck. Come on, just end. Attempt number 4. Yeah, no, this is really starting to irritate me. I am getting so tired of Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan. Attempt number 5. No, do not take me back to that awful Sandslash challenge from TCG2 where I had like 15 attempts. Do not. Attempt number 6. I literally lost on their first turn. Attempt number 7. I lost in 3 turns. Attempt number 8. I did it. I absolutely dominated this one too. I was finally able to utilize Pidgeotto's fighting resistance against the fighting deck. Every time I had it out earlier, Hitmonlee was high jump kicking it right in its beak, but not this time. I whirlwinded his team so much he had to go to urgent care from all of the dirt flying into his eye. I made sure I burned his Hitmonlee alive with Flamethrower at the end too, just because I am done with this. Fighting Metal obtained finally, and I can go take on the Grandmasters. Although technically, shouldn't I lose because Ash lost in the tournament? Well, I'll go through with the challenge. That would be a cheap way out. But first, I have a new team member to withdraw. Ash's Krabby evolves into Kingler during the first round, so I'm going to go in with Kingler as well. Krabby is a water type with 50 HP, a weakness to lightning, and a 2 retreat cost. For 1 water, Call for Family is 100% useless because this is the only Krabby in the deck. For 1 water and 1 colorless, Iron Grip just does 20. Kingler gets 60 HP but a 3 retreat cost. For 1 water, Flail does 10 times the number of damage counters on Kingler, so clearly it needs to have been hit for this to do any damage. For 2 water and a colorless, Crab Hammer does 40. Pretty average card, really. Okay, let's take on Fire Master Courtney, typically one of my least favorite battles in the game. And well, this was really easy. I start with just Squirtle, which certainly could be worse as it does double the damage to her fire types. So Squirtle hung in for as long as possible and then Charmeleon finished the job. Done and done. No awful Moltres in sight. But my luck runs out real quick against the mighty Thunder Steve. He opens with 2+ powers to knock out Bulbasaur and 2 hits with Voltorb. Then his turn 3 powered up Electrode finishes the match. So cool. I'm actually a little worried about this one too. Pidgeotto, Squirtle, and Kingler are all weak to his Mons, and I have nobody strong against his. Attempt number 2. This starts with just my Bulbasaur against Electabuzz, who is just awful, and a couple Eevee. But if I can avoid paralysis, I can heal with Leech Seed at least. I get Squirtle, who will probably be useless. Eventually, Electabuzz Thunder Punches to knock out Bulbasaur, but also knocks itself out from a Tails Flip. Way to go. Now it's just my Squirtle against his 2 Eevee, so at least I don't have a weakness to them. I get Pikachu and switch out to start sparking it up. It goes pretty well, only 3 prizes left until he gets a heads with Thunder Punch. Only Squirtle is left, so this is real bad. But I draw Charmander and I have Charmeleon in my hand. That was lucky as heck. And well, it was all I needed, baby. I draw a Pokeball and gank Charizard out of the deck to deal the final blow. I really thought this would take many more attempts, so I'm pleased with the results. And hey, I got to use Charizard too. Neat. Also, no Zapdos in sight. Jack time. Everything is going excellently here. I have a Sparky Pikachu right away dealing damage to his benched Lapras and Articuno, all while his Chansey is taking hit after hit. Then he just uses a switch and then a scoop up to win. So stupid. 2 random trainer cards and the entire battle shifts. Attempt number 2. I lost from running out of cards in my deck. This challenge is taking forever because of how long these matches are going. It's really hard to convey this with my quick edits though. This one was 14 minutes. So frustrating. I only had 1 prize left too. But this time it was mostly just an endurance test. I wasn't really in much danger, but taking out multiple Chansey and Articuno can get tiresome. Pikachu and Kingler were the MVPs this time around. Kingler's Crab Hammer isn't half bad. Only the worthy can wield the Crab Hammer. But now I do my final and very last task. I add Muck to the deck. Except, here's the thing. Ash brings in his Muck, but I believe in the episode each round is only a 3x3 battle. So rather than trying to figure all that out, I'm just going to simply add Grimer and Muck to the deck for these final 2 matches. I mean, Ash loses the next one anyway, so I'm going to try and change the course of the events here and win. So for the first time this game, I'm going to have 7 usable Pokemon here. Is that cheating? Absolutely not. I've used these guys before, but Grimer is a grass type with 50 HP, a weakness to Psychic, and a 1 retreat cost. For 1 colorless, Nasty Goo does 10 and paralyzes with a head slip. For 1 grass, Minimize reduces all damage on the next turn by 20. But Muck has 70 HP with a 2 retreat cost and the same Psychic weakness. It has the Pokemon power of Toxic Gas, where all other Pokemon powers are rendered useless unless Muck has a status condition. That really only potentially hurts my Charizard, so not a huge deal. For 3 grass, Sludge does 30 and poisons on a head flip. Alright, with the final team set, let's do this. Rowdy Roddy is going to feel the power. This battle was amazing. Would you believe I won by getting all 6 prizes by only using Pikachu? I opened with it and I won with it. I did have a Charmeleon on the bench with a Charizard in my hand, but none of that even mattered. This level 14 Pikachu took out his entire team. What an absolute mad lad. Okay, time to finish this challenge once and for all. I haven't even brought up Ronald this entire challenge because frankly, he doesn't deserve to be. Oh, you want proof? So I start with Krabby against his Kangaskhan. I won by never taking any damage. He ended up decking himself as he's known to do. I never not used Krabby unless you count me evolving it into Kingler, and he never not used that Kangaskhan. This right here is the champion. He even had 2 fully powered Dragonites, but for some reason he never wanted to add more energies to Kangaskhan. But I did it! I completed the game using Ash's exact Pokemon in the order in which he obtains or releases them. And that's hilarious that for the final 2 battles, I literally only had Pikachu and Krabby/Kingler out. All of that planning with Muck didn't even matter. But the challenge was surprisingly able to line up with the anime events quite well. The only issues I came across were not being able to fight Murray before Nikki, and that Mitch was the stand-in for Giovanni. With that said, Mitch was by far the most difficult club leader, my god. In the end, I have to say, this was actually a lot of fun though. I genuinely look forward to seeing what my next task was going to be, who gets added to my team, or who leaves. It made for a consistently changing deck strategy. I even altered trainer cards more often than usual. But I have to say, there were many times where I was feeling the weaknesses of the deck. Getting Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle were nice additions for more options, but they are really not very strong cards. Charmander ended up being the most useful, to no surprise, especially with the addition of Charmeleon and Charizard later on. Charizard actually did come in handy a couple times, but Charmeleon is more reliable and just a better Pokemon. Sorry, someone had to say it. Jungle Pikachu was easily the best choice out of the Pikachu options, and Pidgeotto ended up being kind of an annoying card to use. But yeah, some of these losses got pretty frustrating, especially when they took 14 to 15 minutes long each. Out of all of my challenges though, this was a fun one with some definite hurdles along the way. I recommend it if you want to bother with the research of the timeline of events like I did. And you know what? I think I learned my lesson. Going undercover as somebody else really is the smart thing to do if I end up doing something immoral. I liked being somebody else. Well, how about you, Spike? Did you enjoy becoming One Life to Live's Ryan Phillippe?
You know, I actually did. Did you know that Crimson Tide was actually the first movie that Ryan...
Shut up. Do you hear that?
I think it's coming from the basement. Probably just another summoned deadite from the Pokenomicon.
No. This is something else. Oh my god, it's a fisherman!
Good to see you, Paraspectre. Do you remember me?
Dr. Matthews? Aren't you supposed to be in jail on like 37 accounts of Pokemon slaughter?
What? No. It is I, Fishermatthew. And I still know what you did last summer. And you are going to pay for what you did to me.
I don't have time for this. Spike, use Spore. Wow, Fishermatthew sure was a lame villain, wasn't he?
Yeah, but you did hit him with your car last summer. Maybe the real villains were us all along.
Hey, wasn't Ryan Phillippe an urban legend?
No, you're thinking of Tara Reid.
Oh, right. You know, I do that all the time. There was this one movie that I was watching. I think it had, what was his name?
I got certain little girl, she's on my mind. No doubt about it, she looks so fine. She's the best girl that I ever had. Sometimes she's gonna make me feel so bad. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Hush, hush, I thought I heard her calling my name. Now hush, hush, she broke my heart, but I love her just the same. Now hush, hush, I thought I heard her calling my name. Now hush, hush, I need her loving and I'm not to blame.